Hi, this is David Odell with OdellCompleteConcrete. Today we're going to feature the walking edger, 12-inch wide and half-inch radius walking edger. This is going to be real-time footage, so it's going to be real easy to see how to operate. What we do first of all, before you even consider running your walking edger, is you want to get your edges flat. And you get them flat with a hand float. You go around the edges by hand with a hand float or your bowl float if you're lucky. Then once you feel like it's flat with the surrounding area, then it's time to run that walking edger. The way you want to run a walking edger is you want to keep it flat. In other words, you should be making a line on your outside edge. You don't necessarily concentrate on the edge itself when you're running the tool. You're concentrating on running it flat and straight. In other words, you don't want to twist the edger, otherwise you're going to have a rolled edge, meaning you might end up lower than the surrounding concrete or formwork. So you want to make sure you're leaving a line on the outside edge of that edger. If you're not leaving a line, then you probably don't have the tool flat and level. So that's the most important thing about edging, is keeping that tool flat. Because if you try to twist it in to the edge, you're going to have a little rolled edge and it's going to kind of be angled off. And that never looks good, especially if you're trying to meet some existing concrete and you end up lower than the existing concrete, creating a trip hazard. So as long as you hold that edge flat, you won't have that problem. Another thing I like to do before I run this walking edger is I like to clean the top of the form off, get all the excess concrete or maybe dirt or grass off the top of the form. That way it doesn't have a chance of falling into the concrete later. You don't want to work any of that into the concrete, because even though you worked it in, you don't see it later on after you wash the concrete down a few times. Those little things like grass strands, dirt clods, things like that will come out of the concrete and leave an impression or a hole in the concrete. Now I'm going to show you how to use a hand edger as well on this one. First of all, like I said, we have to flatten the edges before we run the hand edger. And I'm just going to use a trowel right here. Normally you'd want to use a hand float, but I had this real handy in my back pocket. So I grabbed that out and I'm going to knock this down and get it nice and flat along here. Once I get it flat, then I'll run that hand edger along there. I had to move the concrete around a little bit. And it's a little bit more difficult to move the concrete with a trowel than it would be a hand float, but it can be done. Now what I did here is I turned the hand edger around, actually backwards, and I put it into the radius on the existing concrete just to clean up the edge. And I just scraped the existing concrete. So I simulated I was edging the old concrete in order to scrape it clean. Then I flipped the edger around and then I can edge the new concrete. And now all of the spilled concrete that got on the old concrete is gone since I did that little trick. Now what you do, after every time you get done you're running any of your tools, you want to immediately wipe out the line that it leaves, because those are hard to get out when the concrete's hard. Anyway, thank you for watching my videos, and if you like that real-time footage, stay tuned, because we're going to be posting some more in the near future of every individual tool, so you'll know what it takes to get the job done.